How come it was snowing just last week and now I'm sitting with 24 degrees and I'm sweating? I've just got in the car, and pretty much for the last time in 5 years I'm going to be doing this little commute. I work in engineering. I'm not going to say exactly where, but I work in the west side of London, and that's what I do as my day job. And I've been doing this little commute, of which I'm in my little commuter car, my little Honda Civic, for just over 5 years now. And it's a little bit sad, to be honest with you, that I'm no longer going to do this. But it started making me think that a lot of people, when they drive, especially in cities and things, they find it very stressful, and it's certainly not something that they look forward to. Now, is this just me, the way I'm programmed? But even though I'm driving a manual car in a city where an automatic would be much more favourable, the reason I got the manual is because I like to change gears, etc. But I also wanted my son to have this car so that he could learn how to drive a stick shift, as you call it in America, manual in the UK. And what is this Ferrari doing right in front of me here? Let me just get out of the way of this. He's stopped. Has he broken down? Anyway, but when I get in my car, this for me is my favourite part. I get to relax, put my tunes on, and take in all the surroundings, see what's going on in the world, and I love it. For me, I can think about the day, I can think about perhaps what I'm going to be doing this evening. Brilliant time for me to sort of switch off, and I don't mean concentration wise, but I mean from the daily engineering stuff that I do. I can just now listen to the music and relax, and usually think about things I've got to start repairing, which brings me on nicely, because the reason I'm doing this little video is because I'm going to go past a very famous house of somebody that I think certainly deserves a mention. Because when I grew up, he taught me an awful lot about stuff that I didn't know in and around cars. I'm from Generation X, and I know you're thinking, he doesn't look old enough to be Generation X, yeah? Yeah? Well, anyway, I very much am. And we had to learn through necessity. You didn't have the internet to go and look stuff up. You didn't have your YouTube videos that you could see how somebody does something to fix it. You had to go and buy a manual, and you were lucky if you got the one that was close to the car that you were trying to fix. So to Mr. Haynes, thank you, sir, for giving me the confidence and basically the start of my engineering life, because it's through your books. That's probably one of the main reasons why I'm in the industry that I am. And from growing up and using these Haynes manuals is how the Generation X fixed their cars, because you were unable to always take it to a garage, and you did it out of necessity. And the reason you were unable to take it to a garage is very simple. It's three main reasons, which you don't often see today. And I'm going to touch on that. Number one, when you bought a car when you're young and you just passed your test, and in the UK you can drive at the age of 17, they didn't have the leasing cars that we have today. And nowadays I see youngsters who are in their early 20s, late teens, buying cars with basically as much money as they can afford each month. That's their go-to. If they can afford £300 or £400, is how much you can lease a car for. When I was younger, not so much the case. It was how much money you could afford to actually save up. Maybe you might take a loan from a bank, but it was usually an older car, usually a hand-me-down, and you usually had to fix it, and you certainly couldn't afford it. And if you had a car such as you and had an old Audi or a Mercedes, you certainly, well, I couldn't afford to take it to a dealer to go and get it fixed. There wasn't the independent garages that we see today where they do all sorts of different cars. You generally had to go to the specialist dealers to get them done, and that was something that I just simply couldn't afford at the age of 17. The second reason is that there wasn't any YouTube. There was nothing like that. There was no internet, and you didn't see that sort of thing apart from in a Haynes magazine, or you had a friend that could maybe pop round and help you. So you had to work things out. You had to find a way and do it yourself. And boy, did you make a few mistakes along the way. And actually at one point, I've told this story many times, but not so much on YouTube, I actually was trying to clean the carburettor on an old Fiat. I drained the tanks. I had, stupidly, this is the naivety when you're young, you don't realise how dangerous things are. It's not until you're older that you look back on it and cringe. I had buckets of petrol where I drained the tank to try and fix the clogged carburettor, and the hot exhaust, a little bit of fuel dropped down onto that hot exhaust and it went up in a wooden barn. Amazingly, somehow I managed to push the car out, but I burned half of the engine, all the plastics had gone, all the wiring loom had melted. But guess what? I then had to learn how to do wiring and soldering, and actually how to fix rubber pipes that had all melted by buying extra long bits of pipe, putting it in hot water, forming the bends. This was all stuff out of necessity because I needed the car to get myself around. And the third and last reason is actually off the back of the first two reasons. Because after you've fixed the car that you set fire to, that you've avoided taking it down to the dealer with all the extra expense, you've now gained a newfound level of confidence in yourself. Which means that the next car that you buy, you're learning even more on that one. And then you start to help your friends. Well, that's certainly what I did. They used to bring their cars round and I'd give it a go. We'd try and work it out together. I was lucky that my dad had dug a pit in a garage, which means I could go down and then look underneath the car like in a regular garage and fix the exhaust and stuff. But when I started, I didn't even know how to change a tyre. I hadn't got a clue. But once you start to build that confidence and you learn, and that's one of the reasons why I do this channel, is to try and help people, perhaps you're a little bit younger, is give things a go yourself. You remember that, going back to what I was saying, the Generation X, we didn't have any computers, we didn't have any ability to look up stuff. So none of your fancy 3D video games that you get now, which are totally immersive online. The best thing that I had, and it was still amazing fun by the way, was on your ZX80 playing Chucky, Egg and Jetpack. Yeah, I don't even know what that's all about, do you youngsters out there? But truth be told, there has to be something in what I've just said about learning, getting confidence, working things out yourself from the generation that I'm from. Because I've just found out, and this is food for thought for you, that the astronauts right now going around the dark side of the Pink Floyd moon are all Gen X.
The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Roger, roll pitch.
Houston, now controlling the flight of integrity on the Artemis 2 mission.
They are all of the same generation. And if I remember rightly, the guys that went to the moon back in 1969, and I was only just born after that, these guys, they certainly weren't Gen X. The Gen X's back in those days, well, they were seen as OAPs. I'm right now thinking I'm just sort of in my prime, but then I suddenly look in the mirror and I think, Jesus, who is that strange old person there looking at me? Oh, it's me. You forget actually how old you are. Or was that just me? You certainly feel a lot younger than you look in the reflection in your mirror. And the last point, and I know it's a little bit sort of random what I'm coming at, but it is just what's in my head right now. And I don't think I would feel the same way and be as calm and comfortable and relaxed if I didn't have that upbringing that I've just mentioned about learning things, about the Haynes Manual, about getting things fixed yourself. That way of thinking is something that has come about over a long period of time because you kind of teach yourself. But a lot of people, when they get in the cars, they get very stressed. But for me, it's just comfortable, nice, cool place to be, especially on a warm day like it is today. And if I'm certainly going somewhere and I really need to think about something, do you do what I do? And I just find I go for a drive. And it's that momentum of moving forward, even though I'm only going about 2 miles an hour, of driving and thinking. It's like I'm making progress. I'm just moving, driving, looking around, thinking. If I'm going into a meeting and I need to think about what I'm going to go and say, I find that is the best way for me to get my thoughts out. I sometimes sit here talking to myself, which I actually am at the moment, although I'm talking to the camera, but there's people around, but you know what I mean. Right, I won't bore you anymore. I hope you like this little video. Maybe on the slim chance his family or the company is actually out there watching this video, because there I am, literally on the doorstep of the originator. So I appreciate you sharing this little moment with me and my thoughts, and I'll see you on YouTube. Bye for now.
Love is a verb, love is endured, feelings on my way.